Welcome back. Here's Spec. Hey, you ready for today? You hate being on camera, don't you? But everyone likes seeing you because you're just like a little rag doll. Say hi. Go ahead. So welcome back. Today it's 3 years since my dad has passed. I had the privilege of being there as he took his last breaths. On a different note, I still find it amusing that although our parents were divorced for a very long time, my father chose to leave this world on my mom's wedding anniversary, to my stepdad. Damn, I just find it amusing. So you'll hear more about both their passings in book 2. So before we get into what you need to remember, I want to share a comment that was emailed to me. So a friend relayed this quote. Everything I know about being a caregiver, I learned on the job, and fairly quickly. It's a topic that's easy to ignore until it becomes impossible. I'm still learning, and it's not easy, as you know. And my sister and I had grown apart, but we reestablished a bond. I always tell the caregivers at the nursing home who do this for a living that they're doing angel work. I thank my friend for sharing their thoughts. I look forward to hearing from more people and appreciate the feedback that you've been dropping in the comments. So keep that going, please. So now on to what you need to remember. So my mother-in-law was dealing with scleroderma, dementia, kidney failure, in addition to failing heart valves, and general aging. She's in her late 80s. We all have to go somehow. And, it's not always just a smooth exit. So the best resources we learned about when taking my mother-in-law in was Powerful Tools for Caregivers. It's a national program providing encouragement and guidance for caregivers of any age and any situation. This group helped me to become an ardent caregiver. Their bolstering came in the form of weekly meetings and a book. I still remember when we were walking out of the house one day, my mother-in-law yelled from her bed, "I demand you stay here. Do not go there and talk about me. I forbid it." It was sad and amusing. I understand her loss of control, but everyone needs support, and we needed it. So we both replied, "See you when you get back home, Mom." That's all you can do sometimes, you need to do what you need to do. So shorthand for taking in an elderly loved one. Prep the house like you would a toddler. Safety, safety, safety. I know it sounds ridiculous, but yes, another adjustment we did was and not ridiculous, that was the wrong thing, but another adjustment we did was to install a handicap ramp for easy access to our backyard. ADA compliant ramps take up tons of space, but obviously if your loved one is using a walker or a wheelchair independently, that's what you need to do. His mom could still walk, so we have a ramp, and it's not ADA. But it was fine. She was always using it, with supervision. So I'll put some links in the comments about, you can purchase metal ones that just roll out. So afterwards you could take them down. Our people have built beautiful custom wood ones. So one of the important tips, number 1, when leaving a loved one who's struggling with memory loss home alone, take the knobs off the gas stove. So, there's no explosions while you're away. Or if the stove's electric, there's special covers you can put on top. There'd be nothing worse to coming home to burnout rubble. I blew that one. There'd be nothing worse than coming home to burnt out rubble along with losing the loved one and your pets. So, in order to keep them safe too, cover up. Notes in the comments. There's also kill switches and automatic turnoffs for gas and electric stoves. So we had a life alert for her. A type of pendant, meaning that it would sense if she fell and automatically call for help. There are a couple things that could have happened, and all happened to us. So Mom was so lightweight that when she fell in our presence, the life alert did not trigger. One point she just slid right out of the chair and she's on the floor and nothing happened. And, she definitely went down. She didn't hurt herself, but so also, she had the stubbornness of my grandmom who fell while wearing her pendant. So once so many people fall, they just don't want to push the button for help. I can't answer why. Or like my mom would do at her place, she'd randomly take the pendant off and rendering the monthly fee utterly useless. If you don't wear it, not going to do anything. But technology keeps getting better and better. The Apple Watch provides a similar service at a cheaper cost, possibly. And I think so. But you'd have to look at your plan. So there's also Find My iPhone. There's the little tile devices, and now there's AirTags. All these are options to track your loved ones, especially like if you're concerned about whether they can be independent or not. You might want to track them and see if they are getting lost. And I know it may sound bad, but every situation is unique and you need to know about resources. You don't have to use them, but you need to know about them. So important tip number 2, you don't want to come home to a busted front door. So get a lockbox. You want to put it out of sight from pesky burglars, but if the paramedics have to get into your house while you're gone, they have the code. We set that up like with the life alert system. It was very clear that if they had to call someone when we were away, they had the code, they knew where the lockbox was, so they could immediately get into the house. And get one that blends into the don't get one that blends into the landscape. Time is of essence. Remember, out of sight, but easy to recognize. So the trifecta tip is you need to have your post and all that, what it means in the comments, and your DNR, or whether they want a CPR or not. DNR means do not resuscitate. So in Oregon, the post is a form. It's bright pink, and the requirement is to put it on your fridge. So if you aren't present when the EMTs arrive, they know what to do, or more importantly, what's not to be done. So, but on the other hand, if your loved one wants CPR, they're going to have some cracked ribs and a good chance of never being their self again. You can opt out of all life-saving measures. Messed that one up. But anyway, it is the patient's choice. But be clear. You be clear, they be clear. So when the EMTs come, they know what to do. So there's a fun fact. A few elderly women have had "do not resuscitate" tattooed on their chests. So there's absolutely no confusion about what their treatment desires are. So who wants to be revived and suffer the rest of their lives? So one of the biggest lessons we learned was when you take a loved one into your home, it isn't always the best solution. Raise your hand if you want to treat your parent like a child. No, put that hand down. So picture this. Now, Mom, you have to get out of bed. You need to take your meds or else. You stink. You can't avoid bathing. So what are the consequences? Like if they're not going to cooperate? Are you going to take care of the dessert? That shit just doesn't work. They're your parents still, and they're going to not want to listen to you. So, having the professionals be the bad cop can keep the family relationship positive. Even more importantly, assisted living facilities, known as ALFs, or skilled nursing inpatient facilities, known as SNFs, provide needed socialization. And I know all this also relies on money. So I understand that some people need to stay home. So I'll provide resources for that. But if your parent has a long-term care contract, or if they are a veteran. And we're going to cover more of this in the second book, the Elderly Advocacy book. But there are resources to help you get a loved one into assisted living. And you should check them all out before you make the decision. But so back to the story. So no matter how entertaining you are, most times family isn't enough to keep loved ones engaged. And lots of times they'd rather relate to someone their own age. That was definitely the case with, my mother-in-law. It was fine, but she really wanted someone she could connect to. So if you fought all morning over food, meds, and dressing, there's no energy to take your loved one out for a ride, to play cards, or do yoga, or even do family interviews to record stories for great grandkids. That's an important thing no matter where your loved one is living. Try and write down stories, or now, technology is so darn easy, record it. And it's good to revisit the pleasant times in life. And stories that our parents or grandparents may tell us, sometimes they're not all pleasant, but it's a part of history and you learn so much. So if you have the time, do it. So over the years, ALFs along with SNFs, and in some states, adult foster homes have been given a bad rap. Of course, there are subpar facilities, but in my experience, an involved family member can solve many of those issues. So if medical workers are doing the hard stuff, the family has the energy to focus on the fun stuff. And at every facility, there's an ombudsman. Oh, I said it so well. I used to be able to not pronounce that word. And you can reach out to them. Yes, they're there to serve the resident, but they're also a great source of information. Definitely, get a binder, know all the meds. You yourself need to take the effort to look up the side effects to discover what drugs shouldn't go with what. Of course, the doctor and nurse, along with the pharmacist, should do the cross-checking. But, sometimes it just doesn't happen. People are overworked. So it never hurts for you to be thorough. Keep a calendar, go to the appointments. If your elder's tech savvy, do a shared calendar with reminders of, that will tell them, oh, next week you have an appointment. A reminder the day before, oh, tomorrow's your doctor's appointment. A reminder the day of, oh, in a couple hours we're going to the doctor. It really, my mom loved that kind of stuff. She wanted to know, and she couldn't always keep track, so that was great. And all this, yes, it is like a job, but it makes the doctors, facilities, and your job and their lives a lot easier. You're going to hear more about how healthcare has become a job for patients in a story down the line with a book called The Patient Revolution. So you'll hear much more about that down the line. So if you need a follow-up, on complaints or compliments, it's important to give people feedback when they're doing an excellent job. It's so easy just to bitch and complain, as you probably hear coming out of this mouth. But give the compliments too. And there will be positives in the journey. And the important thing is do it in writing. A voicemail is not enough. It's not proof. So send an email, send a registered letter. You want that proof that you sent it. Okay, paper trail. We were able to find 2 women to help us with my mother-in-law. They came from an unofficial referral list. There are organizations like Home Instead and also Visiting Angels. And I just found about this one. It's local. And of course, it'll be in the comments at the caregiver fair the other day. So there's strict rules on what they can help you with. Dispensing medicine is one of those hot topics. But as you know, they're cool devices that you can set up and set alarms and only open up at a set time. So there's that too. And I know some of this info is regional, but you can Google keywords to find out if these resources are available in your area. Brainstorming with others about specific needs and coming up with search ideas is something I found very useful whenever I was stuck and really at odds in any of my situations. The more people you talk to, the more ideas you come up with, then you start searching and seeing if there's something available. And for the entrepreneurs out there, then you think about your new business. There's so many things that can be done. So there's more of what you need to remember next time. There's going to be a part 2 of that. So see you then. Spec says, see you then. I need to go take a walk. And why is she in front of the camera instead of taking me out? Okay, bye.